this, do not give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's happening? All right, today we're going to talk about immigration options for your parents. How y'all doing? Good to see you. All right, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. It seemed like a slow game, and then all of a sudden it went to overtime. Who would have thought? Unless, of course, you're a Kansas City fan. You already knew it was going to happen. Anyways, today we're going to talk about options for your parents. Let's say, for example, you are a U.S. citizen, or maybe you don't have status, but maybe your sibling does, and you figured, okay, I have a likely idea that it's possible that my parent or one of them can get legal status. And if you have that idea, you might want to consider talking to immigration attorney. So here's the deal. Here's what can prompt thinking about your parents, and is in terms of immigration options, is if maybe one of your siblings or yourself is a U.S. citizen born in America, or maybe you even got status from maybe your spouse, for example, and you eventually became a U.S. citizen. And now you want to file for your parent. That is possible. The other thing, except there are some things you need to know that could restrict you. The second one option is that if they have a petition filed on their behalf before April 30th, 2001, okay, that is a huge benefit for them. Even if they don't have a notice that shows approved, as long as it has a receipt notice from a long time ago, before April 30th, 2001, this is a law that's been grandfathered by President Bill Clinton to basically, essentially the benefit of that is so your parent can stay in the United States without having to leave at all for the interview, okay? Assuming that an interview could still happen. Like just marriage cases, for example, a lot of those interviews have been waived, but I don't know why. When you file for your parent, it's not as frequent or common that those interviews would be waived. But anyways, there's a lot of things you need to know about, but one thing is, if you think you have an inkling that like, oh, I think it's time to at least talk to a lawyer, it's probably a good thing to talk to one, okay? So, but even here on the visa bulletin, and some people might wonder, well, I know my uncle or my aunt filed for my parent, and they passed away actually. Can you file for them? You can. If you're a U.S. citizen over 21, you can essentially take over the case and file for them. Now, keep in mind, you do have to go start at step number 1 and file a petition yourself. But if your uncle or aunt is still living, then you don't have to file another petition, as long as the visa priority and the visa bulletin shows current. So try not to make it as complicated, but essentially, petition is step number 1. After that's approved, then the visa bulletin is important to look at to make sure you know when to take the next step. Okay, so just that by itself, we have at least a video on YouTube. We'll try to get one on TikTok for y'all, so you can understand what the heck visa bulletin is and the priority date. It's frustrating to look at, but it's important for y'all to know. All right. Let's see here. How y'all doing? Okay, great. I see. Hey, folks on Instagram. Okay, there we go. Okay, you should be able to see me now on Instagram. I don't know why I was looking a little backlog. Okay, so if you have a situation like that, you're welcome to ask me about that today. Of course, if you have other questions, you're welcome to ask. But one more thing about filing for your parent, because some people think, oh, like, yeah, my parent entered America without a visa. I'm now a U.S. citizen. I'm over 21. Can I file? Yes and no. Yes, if for the petition, step number one. However, if your parent entered without status, right, which is a good amount of people, then that's that first thing we were talking about for phase number two. Does your parent have a old petition filed before April 30th, 2001? Because that's what we call an exception that will allow them to stay here in the United States without having to leave at all. I think in Spanish you call it like a multa or something. Basically like an extra fine, $1,000. So think about, instead of paying that plane ticket, you can pay for this fine, but that's only if you're eligible for it. Now, if you don't have that, okay, then the next option is to see if does your parent have a qualifying relative to show hardship for the waiver purposes. Okay. Now, even though you have to file a waiver, filing a waiver and getting approved for it, okay, does not mean it's going to prevent your parent from having to go outside. You still have to go outside, okay, in the United States eventually after the waiver is approved and the interview is scheduled. However, having a adult son or daughter who's over 21 and a U.S. citizen does not mean that person is a qualifying relative for this unlawful presence waiver. Unfortunately, it requires a parent, so basically your grandparent or a spouse who has residency or a U.S. citizen. So very unfortunate. It's a ridiculous thing that should have been expanded, because I know it seems ridiculous that, yeah, the adult son or daughter can file a petition, but why not be also considered as a qualifying relative? Go figure. I don't know. President Obama was in charge of that one. So it can always be expanded, as far as I understand. So talk to President Biden on that one, his administration. All right, folks. Now I'm going to get to answer some questions. Let me slide this over, see it a little larger. Welcome to the show. Welcome to greencardguys.tv. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law, if you couldn't tell by now, in the United States. And we help people live and work in America legally. All right. So it's important to share, because some people have called our office, asked here on a live show, like, hey, how do I report someone to ICE? I mean, go to ice.gov, okay? But in that sense, we don't guide people in that situation. Sorry for people's heartbreak, but we don't help with that. We don't walk you through that. Routes in routes. Sorry to hear that. You paid the incorrect filing fee. Okay. Well, hopefully you get that figured out. You said you paid $12.25. That's for the AOS. But did you file routes and routes? Did you file the I-130 at the same time? Because you did. If you did, then that's another $535. And you sent it to lockbox. So it sounds like you mailed it to Chicago. So as far as I remember, Chicago is the one where you file everything, because you file only the petition I-130. That's going to Phoenix, Arizona. So I remember random stuff like that. All right. So that sounds like your issue. You paid $12.25. That's correct for adjustment of status, but you also need to pay for the 535. I'm sorry. Yeah, pay 535 USD for the petition. So hopefully that helps you. Thanks for coming back on and sharing that. Glad you got some kind of response. By the way, how did you get that response? Routes and routes? Is it because you submitted an inquiry, or you called in and finally someone answered that's not a robot? It's just good to hear. Okay. Let's see here on TikTok. I'm going to switch back and forth. I know I got some questions on Instagram as well. So stay tuned, Instagram. I'll get right to you. I'll switch back and forth. Thanks for joining. Let's see here. Don't be shy. You got a question, go ahead and ask. You don't have to tell me you got a question. Just go ahead and ask, and I'll try my best to answer. I'm probably only going to be live today for about 10 minutes because I got another team meeting a little earlier. Actually, a client meeting. Let's see. Okay, you filed K1, fiance visa, NBC, and National Benefit Center got your name wrong, spelling. What do you have to do? I believe on the USCIS page, they have an inquiry box for incorrect spelling or something like that, something a little more generic. So you could try that way. But I don't believe they're going to mail you a new notice. And that's okay. As long as you updated them and told them that you filed it, okay? I'm going to switch this up. Okay, there we go. Is that a little better? Okay, it's hard to have all the cameras showing the same direction here. Okay, let's see. Another question. Sarai or Sarah, your 601A has been pending since 2021. Is that normal? Unfortunately, it is the new normal. We had several cases, the waiver cases, 601A, that was approved in the last 6 months. And just like bam, 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 finally. And those we filed around summertime 2020. So that was minimum 36 months. So for you, hopefully you get that decision this year. Okay. Okay, let me switch over to Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Donna Black, how does it take it to transfer a proceeding case from one state to another? Okay, Donna Black, so you need to file a motion to change venue. All right. Motion to change venue. Some people, if it's like a civil case, it's called transfer venue. But hopefully that helps you out. Okay. It's a lot for something like that. It's a lot easier to hire an attorney for that, and it'll also just take over your case. But yeah, I mean, you could try it yourself if you have an active case, like you have a court hearing coming up, and you provide your update. What I would do is bring proof of that new address. If you, especially if you're representing yourself, don't just go up to court. Let your scheduled court hearing, and then just allow the don't let the government, the immigration judge, assume that you actually are about to move. Right? You need to provide proof, even if you flew in to your old stomping grounds where you lived before. You want to provide proof that you flew, for example, because some judges are a bit wacko and they don't. You need to give proof. I've had some. I remember back, like, particular judge in Dallas. Man, he was rough. This one, DACA just got started. I think it was like 2012ish, and around that time, and the judge was not having it. The people flew from California, whole family, not just one person, whole family. That was part of the case. Several of them were eligible for DACA, filed for it, and then Dallas judge said, no, you got to come back to Dallas in the future. That was ridiculous. I hope someone filed a complaint on that guy for that, at least for that reason. Okay. But I guess to answer your question, how long, you asked, Donna? Any motion you file the court, I would say at least 30 days, and just call them, especially if you represent yourself. Politely call them and politely ask, by any chance, any update. Now, look, if it's been like 2 weeks, I don't think that's enough time. Give it at least 30 days, and then call back every month after that. Hopefully your next court date is not coming up that quickly, so that you don't have to fly back to your original location. All right. Ahmed, can you apply for work permit while your appeal is pending? Terminate? What do you mean terminate? Terminate asylum court? Oh, pending the motion to dismiss. I don't think you meant appeal then, if that's the case. Yeah, I mean, you could renew it if that's what you mean. Is it through your asylum case? Is that what you got going on? Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Because okay. Rachel, your petition for your children is approved. Last, I guess the last notice you got was 2020. Now no update. What all did you so you filed for your children? Are they here in America or are they abroad? Because it's a different scenario depending on the situation. If they're abroad, did you receive an email? The old school way was like some kind of notice in the mail, but now it's all by email. And we call it, and I don't know why, it was weird. At least Texas time, the Central time, it's like an automated email that comes like 2 a.m. So maybe you missed it. Hopefully you didn't, but usually it's about 3 to 5 weeks after the petition's approved. And that email is very important because you need that. What it contains is the new case number and because that's a case number with Department of State and National Visa Center, and the invoice number. Invoice number is just a bunch of numbers, so you can pay the bill for the next step in the CEAC portal. Okay, which there's 2 fees, but total is like $445 per person. Or I'm sorry, not 445 per person. It's 120 for you as a sponsor, and then 325 for each dependent, okay, beneficiary. Let's see. Sorry, I don't mean to jump around, but TikTok, at least it moves us around. Myra and a couple other people, looks like Inez Mendoza. Okay, I guess you're Myra, you're responding to hers. Yeah, so they're transferring. Your case got transferred. If your 601A case or any other case application got transferred, it's not a direct indication that, like, oh, next week or next month you're going to get the decision letter. I hope you get approved. But here's the deal. One, the current location is like, oh shit, I got too many cases, so we got to move them out to another service center. So it happens that it goes back and forth. That's super frustrating. I hope that didn't happen for you. But let's say it goes moved to a different service center. They need time to review your case. Okay. Unfortunately, some of the older cases, not everything's online, still on paper, even though they say they scan it, but still on paper. So you need to give them some time. And because I remember back in May, some of these 601A cases got transferred, and I believe they're still waiting. Some of them are still waiting for a decision. Let's see. By the way, this is a good time to ask you, if you're new to the channel, especially, follow on your respective platform. All right, give us a follow. I say us because I include my marketing team as well. Can't do this without them. But anyway, I have more videos coming up. I just recorded like 5 videos sharing some tips. So we'll upload that at least one a day. Let's see here. And by the way, if you're new, we try to go live every day, Monday through Friday. So if for some reason I'm not able to answer your question here, it's okay. Jump on tomorrow. I know I won't be live next week, but jump on live tomorrow. I'll be on for the rest of the week. Something else I want to share with y'all that we're trying to do is that sometimes, I get the question a lot, like, should I hire a lawyer or not? I mean, some scenarios I would actually just tell you don't need one, and that's why I share my screen. For example, like how to submit inquiry, things like that. Because even if you pay a consult fee, like an attorney is typically not going to even show you, or just like, so that's why I record these videos to show you how to do it, because I don't want to waste, I would hope you don't have to waste your money on that, something like that, and I think if you just Google search, I don't think it's necessarily going to give you the answer for that kind of scenario. So especially like some of these questions here, I want to do when the name is incorrect or something. So anyways, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to offer some like webinars, workshops that's more specific. So that's not just on like TikTok or YouTube Shorts or whatnot, Instagram, Reels, can't discriminate any of these platforms, but Facebook Story, whatever. The something where you can come on live, like a webinar, like a conference basically, and we can go through it with you. Okay, it might not always be me, but at least one of my team members or myself show you how to do it, because your scenario might not fit what we generically say, broadly state on here. All right, so if you're interested in something like that, send us a DM and we'll let you know. It could be like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. All right, let me hop on over to Instagram. Okay, the mom king herself. I need to check out your channel. How can your son, who's 21, file for you being the parent? So I was just mentioning that earlier. Hopefully you caught that earlier, but essentially, the first question is, did you enter with a visa or not? If you didn't, then hopefully you qualify for 245I. Maybe a brother or a sister filed for you before, then that would save you some trouble, at least save you one step from having to file the waiver. Okay. DM if you didn't hear the rest of that example for the second scenario. Okay, now thanks for the follow. Oh my goodness, Sarah. Sarah asks, how do I feel about some attorneys charging $16,000 to $18,000 for VAWA? Bullshit. we we have over 300 5-star reviews. We certainly don't charge that amount. That's a bit wild. I mean, hey, if you want to do it, go ahead. But that, I mean, every company is to each their own. Buyer beware. But that doesn't mean they're bad lawyers or good lawyers. But you can go to our website, greencardguys.com, and you can see the benefits of hiring our team that actually coach some attorneys, and I share with them like, hey, people pay you, you gotta offer customer service like any other company. In fact, we're probably better than any tech company, because imagine calling AT&T and any of those companies. They're not. It's like trying to go through hoops trying to talk to someone. It's ridiculous. But I would hope that 16 to 18K would include adjustment of status, not just for I-360, but still, that's way more than we charge. But to each their own. Good luck to you. Happy to chat if you want to. All right. Hey on Pharma, USCS denied your 485, or does USCS deny if the affidavit support and medicals are not included with the 485? Yeah, they can. They can deny it. I've seen it. Someone contacted us after the prior lawyer forgot to include it. Oh my God. So that's ridiculous, right? But we always include, if it's a situation that the beneficiary is here in the United States and eligible for adjustment of status, we always include the A64. That's the one, that affidavit sponsorship. Now, the medical exam before 2023, well, we usually say, oh, you can get the medical exam later if you want to. It has to be sealed in an envelope. But that's because it was always standard to expect an interview to happen. But January 1st, 2023, until present time still, we as a team, we highly recommend to give us the medical exam, okay, or if you file yourself, to provide the sealed envelope of the medical exam with your original package. Because if you've been watching our live shows from time to time, you may have seen some comments from other people, their experience of like they didn't file the medical exam, so now there's a bit more delay. And even when they mailed in the medical exam, there's a bit more of delay. So Hayan, sounds like you already filed your case, but if you're new to this and you're thinking about filing, you just got engaged, you got married, you're trying to get started on this, you need to file the medical exam with your entire package. But as to close the loop on this for Hayan Pharma, so let's say you didn't provide the medical exam. What do you expect? You're going to expect a notification. It's either going to be by email from the field office or by mail or your online account. I don't know why, but every field office does it differently. Go figure. It's the federal government. You think there's just one way. But anyway, either of those notifications would be more like a courtesy notification. Say, hey, provide your medical exam. They don't provide a deadline. When they don't provide any kind of deadline, you got to read the whole thing, okay, where the deadline could be. But typically, if they say courtesy, then there's typically no deadline, okay? Because if it's not courtesy notification, then it's going to, or courtesy notice, then it's going to be request for evidence. And if it says request for evidence, that means there's a deadline and you need to comply and mail it in. I would suggest several days before deadline, because if you heard anything about USPS, at least in Houston, there's been some issues with mailing. So don't mess around with that. Now, in terms of affidavit support, we got to talk more about that. You got to schedule a meeting with us, which, by the way, if you're interested, if anyone's interested to talk with our office to see if they can qualify for a strategy session, not everyone's qualified. It just depends on the scenario. If we can even help, because if we don't think we can help, there's really no point. Our team will just explain it to you, the reason why. Okay. By the way, I do that. You can see it on all the platforms here, how to do that on our website, except TikTok. Unfortunately, it's not synced. Okay. Then after you fill out that form, it'll redirect you to our calendar. So, gotta shoot it to y'all straight. Okay. There's been some people that no show. So, give you an idea. I'm not sure exactly at what stage, but when you schedule that first meeting, it's with our CARES team specialists. They are not attorneys, but some people no show them. I get it. Things happen. All right. Last year we did straight to speak with attorney. We thought that, just shortcutting the time would be easier for everyone, but some people no show. We don't got time for that anymore, folks. If you want to schedule time with us, you got to show up. Okay. Look, this is 2024. We do everything by video. I get it if you or get something busy at work, got to take care of your kids, but just send us a quick message. Okay. It's just a little respect because we've got limited spots for these sessions. So we want to make sure we can answer your question. And we just feel bad. We feel bad for the team if, they have a book schedule calendar and then some people don't show up. So keep in mind, we might have a new process where we only ask for this in USD, okay? Only that amount for USD, just to secure that you're going to show up to the meeting. So yeah, hate that I even have to do that, but it might just be this amount. Okay, I can't say it out loud because I don't want to any of these platforms to ban me. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I don't know when in that process that will happen, but it's going to happen. Which, speaking of USD, immigration fees are going up. Okay, inflation, folks. The last time immigration USCIS increased fees was 2016. And under President Trump, they tried to increase it, but it got blocked because I really believe it's because he put a $10 fee for asylum cases. That was just, I can see why he did that, but I mean, still, if he didn't do that, the fees could have increased a couple years ago, 4 years ago. But so it's finally coming down. Not that I want it for y'all. My goodness, the fees are increasing. I'm just letting y'all know you got to file your case. So if you're just twiddling your thumbs, you got most of it filled out, just finish it out, man. Don't take too long. Make sure you did everything right. Of course. All right. Let's see here. Let me switch over here. Sorry, folks. If I'm scrolling here and I answered a similar question, I won't cover it again. You may have missed it, but you're just going to have to ask the next day because I know some people, though they don't need to hear the same thing over and over since I do tend to repeat myself. Yesenia Gonzalez on TikTok. You received a Form 797C notice of receipt, but it doesn't say what's next. Yeah, sometimes they don't do a good job telling you what's next. And that's why, of course, with our team, we let you know even before on day 0, on day 1 of onboarding. We have a whole document, basically like a website, tell you what to expect. So you know that from day 1. But in general, these notices are all going to say 797C at the top, I think top right, but it's like the middle part, like the header basically tells you what kind of receipt. So the next thing for you is if this is for you as a beneficiary, foreign national, then it's the biometrics typically for your fingerprints. Okay, so it could be 1 or 2 months later on average. Okay. What the? Sarah, just following up with your comment, you've seen a lot of attorneys charging those prices. You have zero idea what they're doing. I need to make a video about this. I just wanted to get up and talk to those lawyers if I knew who they were, because that's ridiculous. I mean, some cases do take a long time. Yes, VAWA, I get that, but not every attorney for VAWA charges that amount. I think very few. So just look, if y'all want an attorney in your local area, I totally get it. But if you're looking for one that doesn't matter where they are, I can tell you we charge significantly less than that. We're happy to just have a strategy session. Okay, there's no obligation. Just have a strategy session. Well, I guess the only obligation now is going to be the 5 USD. Okay, that's it. To have this strategy session. Okay. Speaking about dinero, Emmy. Okay, Emmy asked, your friend was asking a lawyer to do the waiver that wanted to charge 9300. Okay, I'm not going to refer to what currency that is because I don't want the platform to ban me to do the waiver. Now, is it the waiver by itself or is it like everything? Because if it's everything, Emmy, that's actually quite normal. But if it's only the waiver, that's more than I would charge for sure. But these, and they might, some law firms might justify this cost because or try to justify, say, oh, these cases are taking a long time, right? 601A is taking like 3 to 4 years, unfortunately. But we don't charge it that way. If anything, I believe we have some kind of maintenance fee in that sense, but it wouldn't be that amount. It'd be like low three digits per year. Okay. But yeah, that's nuts. Let's see. Hey, Asan in New York, do I work on immigration cases in New York? Absolutely. We practice, even though we're physically in Houston. I have associates in Denver, Colorado, for example, and also Florida, but we can fly up to New York if need be. But even if we didn't need to fly up there, let's say the interview was waived, then we can do everything remotely by video conference like this, for example. But if you had an interview or a court case, for example, then, and let's say like the budget's not there to for one of our team members to travel, but you want us to work on the case, we can ask one of our colleagues. I went to law school in New York anyway, so I know a bunch of immigration lawyers in New York and across the US. So it's all about our network, right? So you want a law firm that has a network, because if for some reason you move and you don't want to pay for a travel fee, that's understandable. And our hotel fee, I completely get it. We can contact with another attorney where you live now. Okay. Okay, let me switch over to another platform here. Nini3110 on Instagram. Can we file for mandamus for 290B 45? You filed it October 2022. Okay. So we're generally hesitant to file a 290 a mandamus lawsuit for 290B. And here's why. Because there's not even though I don't care about the processing time schedule, y'all know that I talk about it all the time. I don't care about it. But yeah, of course, if a waiver application online says 44.5 months, we're not going to file it after like 8 months from filing date. Okay. And it's going to be at least 3 years for that. But for 290B, there's not even a processing timetable at all on the USCIS.gov website. So now for Nini on Instagram, what is that? October 2022 for you when you file the 290B, or is it when you file the 485? I'm assuming the 290B. So what is that? One year and like 4 months ish, maybe 6 months. You might want to just consider filing the 485, okay, over again. So that's generally what we default to. Of course, we'll take a look at your specific situation, but if it's a situation to file 290B versus 485, we usually recommend 45, unless they actually claim like marriage fraud or something. Then that's a different situation, okay? Okay, roots and routes. Okay, and you did file the 131. That's good. Roots and routes, 1225 and 535 all together. If I recall, when we used to use check, it'd be all one check. But you should check online. I don't handle that personally anymore, fortunately. But there is, if you want to pay by credit card, you can. Okay, that's the G1450. Okay, it's like a one pager. But on that, the 1450 is two different forms. One form that got printed out twice. One for the 1225 and one for the 535. But if you mail by physical check, pretty sure, knock on wood, you got to verify yourself. But I'm pretty sure that's, if you pay by check, it's just one physical check. So depends on you what's faster, I guess. Let's see here. Okay, glad you got it through the inquiry at least. All right, what's going on, folks? How y'all doing today? Thanks, Sarah, for responding to Hassan. Lucia on TikTok. Your residency application was sent to National Benefits Center, NBC, on January 19th with your medical. Okay, that was pretty recent. That's a little less than a month ago. What's next? It sounds like you got the receipt notice. So the next thing is your biometrics ASC notice to take your fingerprints. That's USCIS wanting to check if you have any criminal history, basically. Uh, Queen. Okay, Queen. Sorry about that. We get a lot of inquiries. So let me I remember I responded to your message on here last week. Can you DM me your first name again, at least, or first and last name? You gave Victor the A number. Okay. Okay. So let me send him a message right now. But let's see. Got a lot of things around here. Okay, there it is. Let me send a message to Victor. This is how fast we do it, folks. We want to make sure we can help you, because if we can't, and it gives you peace of mind in that sense, because Queen ADJ. Okay. All right. I just messaged. All right. I just messaged Victor. Okay. Hopefully I'll call you soon. Thank you. Let's see. All right. Jackie. Jackie, your husband submitted AOS now. He's in prison on probation violation. He won't go. Okay, he won't be able to go to interview. Is he the foreign national or is he the U.S. citizen? Is he going to get out soon? Because whoever is out right now, and not in prison, you definitely want to submit some kind of documentation, a cover letter, basically 8.5 by 11 paper. We call it cover letter, to explain the situation. Maybe even provide the what do you call, sentencing information, or some kind of document to show how long your husband is going to be in jail or will be in jail, an expected release date. And it sounds like, again, this is just some guidance here. You need to talk to a lawyer one-on-one. For anyone in general asking for advice, is because you might want to consider asking USCIS to administrative close your case until your husband's released. Otherwise, hate that you paid all that money to the government, and then get your case denied, and then immigration fees are going up in April 1st. So, which, by the way, folks, fees going up is not an April Fool's joke. It's not an early April Fool's joke. I don't know why they selected April 1st, but that's what's happening. Okay, let me hop over to Instagram here. The mom king herself looks like there's a follow-up question, so message us so we can understand better. Yeah, our team does answer back on IG, as far as I know. Yeah, they do. Ali Emeka 8250 on Instagram. You filed the I-130 for a spouse and your son under 21 since March 2023. You haven't heard from USCIS yet. How long will it take for them to answer? Are you a resident or a U.S. citizen? Because that makes a big difference on how quick you get a response time on a decision. If you're a resident, it's definitely usually at least a year. If you're a U.S. citizen, it should be less than 1 year. Okay, but yeah, that changes depending what status you are as a sponsor. That determines how long the case will be pending. All right, let me switch over here. Okay, San Sakari. Can you stay in the U.S. while motion reopened for denied GC is in process? You can, yes. I mean, you might as well at this point. I actually don't think there's going to be a document that would say, but I wouldn't leave. And then, yeah, I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't leave if you're already in the U.S. and you're going to appeal it. Now, this is a scenario when you say motion to reopen, I think you're talking about the 290B. So you might want to consider refile the 485 instead. Like, find out. You got to know. You got to look at the denial letter, denial notice, say, read exactly why it was denied in the first place. Because I would hate for anyone to either file a 290B or refile the 485 and then didn't really cure or provide information, more information that's relevant to USCIS's concern, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a cycle and cycle over again. Yeah, it's just, let's see here. Do we handle, okay, well, here, okay, so Super Dry on Instagram asked me, do we handle GAY? I'm trying to be PC here. I don't want to say that out loud, but we do help with LGBT plus, okay? So we do help any person, okay? We do not filter out based on gender or sexual orientation. Fortunately, I went to law school at City University of New York, so a lot of my classmates and friends opened my eyes, of course, on why we should help everyone, not just specific sexual orientation, which I thought, yeah, that wouldn't make sense to be so specific. But some law firms are like that, so thank you for asking. Okay. Zion, is it possible to bring your siblings over 18 years old from overseas? How long is the process? A hell of a long time. Okay. It just like most cases that are abroad, there's about 3-step process. Step number one for siblings, and let's safely assume you're a U.S. citizen because only a U.S. citizen can sponsor a sibling. That petition is about definitely over a year. I've heard 2-3 years in general, and then. But even if that petition is taking a long time, that's actually okay, especially if your siblings have children, because that would help, quote unquote, protect their age to be under 21, even if the children eventually, your niece eventually become over 21. So that's called the Child Status Protection Act, CSPA. But anyway, the next step essentially is uploading documents. And the third step, well, 2 and 3 is waiting for the visa bulletin. Okay. It's super frustrating, but if you're wondering if you're a U.S. citizen now, should I just go file for your siblings now, even though it's a hell of a long time? 17 years, by the way, minimum. Yeah, you should, because Congress, last time it was the Gang of 8 in Congress who were the bipartisan, as they claim, to be trying to work together on a bipartisan immigration reform. Was it 2008? I think they said 2008. This when Obama was in office. Yeah, sad times. They were trying to get rid of F4 category. So you got to file now. You never know if Congress finally gets their act together and actually does something bipartisan, they actually might agree to get rid of the F4 category. So don't wait around because yeah, maybe your sibling right now is saying, "No, bro, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. I'm chill." But then 10, 15 years later, they're like, bro, can you sponsor me? And then you're frustrated, right? You're like, you really wanted to do your sibling a favor and they told you no. So just go ahead and do them a favor and yourself a favor now to file the petition now for your sibling because nothing's going to happen for a long time. Okay. And then you can tell them to follow me on any of these platforms because we have videos about Visa Bulletin. All right. Hopefully that answered your question. Okay, Crystal Garcia, you're waiting for an immigration interview appointment, or you had one. You said in October 2023. How long is the wait? I'm assuming it's for residency through spouse. May also depend where you're located, where you live. But generally in Texas, I mean, the fastest one we got was actually recently. 2 months. It was about 2 weeks ago. 2 months from file date to approved. It was great. So, and yes, they provide a medical exam in a sealed envelope. Really, really important. Let's see. Rian. I want to say Rihanna, but your name ends with the E. Rian. You have an interview on the 20th. Okay. Oh, that's coming up in 8 days. Can you hire us to brief us and help you prepare all the requirements? It depends. We do have we haven't we do have series of short videos, of course, to help people when people are client. So I need to think of something with our business team to see how we can offer something like that. Um, but lawyers are generally risk adverse because we prefer because if something goes wrong and we weren't there, then you know, of course, people can blame the lawyer generally. But we understand that not everyone has the budget to hire an attorney to be there at the interview, so we're going to try to find a way that could make it. So contact us anyway, okay? Uh, Daniela. Oh, oh, buddy. Okay, Daniela, your husband was caught 2 times underage at the border. It shows on his scan. Can you still get him a green card? I'm suspecting that when you say caught 2 times underage, that reentry and entry. Okay, I mean, departure and the reentry. But so normally that would be considered permanent bar. But if both of those you say underage, even though unlawful presence does not accrue when under 18 years old. However, I'm still concerned about the entry and illegal entry or departure. So contact us and we can chat. But we want to make sure for you. Okay. Okay. You were granted asylum in Texas and then changed to another state, but it doesn't solve the problem. Well, if you're saying granted asylum, do you mean because you filed for residency? Is that what you mean? Filing for residency, does not, or moving does not dictate where your case will be located in terms of the service center. So if you're looking at y'all are savvy now, following our channel here, and knowing how to check your processing times and whatnot. Like if it says California Service Center, that doesn't mean if you move to California. I'm just making an assumption based on your limited information here, but what's it called? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know exactly your situation. I need to know more. Really. Okay. Zia on TikTok will say because it granted. Granted, that's a good thing. So do you mean you filed for residency? All right, I gotta move on. All right, let's see. Okay, thanks, Queen. Appreciate it. So Sarah, generally it takes about 3 years from start to finish if your abuser is a U.S. citizen. Okay, hopefully that helps. I don't know what you mean waiver. Oh, interview waiver. Um, hmm. Did you get interview waiver? That's pretty good if you did for I-360 45 situation, but generally 3 years. Okay. Ooh, Christine. I'm not sure. Yeah, right on your 2-year anniversary. Um, I think it will be a 2-year residency because unless they possibly mark your approval date on the date of your interview, but generally the approval date is after the interview date. Like they could tell you on the spot, like some people do, not everyone. Some officers could give you a pretty good indication, like, oh, no issues, I'm going to get everything done. They don't even mention anything about supervisor. I'm going to get everything done by the weekend. I remember someone else telling me that like a couple earlier this month or last month, and it didn't notification didn't come out until like Monday or Tuesday the following week. So yeah, I mean, you're likely going to get the 2-year card, but you can ask. Doesn't hurt to ask. Oh wait, let me put it. You should ask, okay, Christine, because Well, I guess what I mean is if the approval date is after the interview, then that's a good thing for you. Okay. As far as I understand, it should be the decision notice date, not the interview date. I'll have to double check that. Thanks for the question. Uh, so yeah, okay, I can answer two more questions, and y'all just join live tomorrow if you can. Um, last time Guadalupe on TikTok. Last time it was transferred to. It's transferred on September 2023. Still haven't heard back. Try to submit an inquiry if you can. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of other than filing lawsuit. If you've been waiting at least before, I was saying wait 36 months before filing lawsuit, but if it's been 38 to 40 months, then that's when I file lawsuit. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll answer two more questions. Emily, have you seen? I mean, it's not you. Emily asked, "Have you seen USCIS admit their mistake and reopen the case without filing appeal?" No, I have not seen that. No, they want you to spend the money. Okay, they're not going to look at the file again. If they like close the case, like submitted, marked it to mail a decision, they're not going to relook at the case, review the case again. So you got to take action. Okay, don't make assumptions what USCIS could do in the positive for you. Look, folks, even though the legal standard for evidence is preponderance of evidence, it's the lowest legal standard possible. USCIS officer can still deny your case, even if you think you provide them everything you needed to. And now, look, of course, I try to help people guide you to the extent that maybe you can even file your own case, but we're here to give you peace of mind. Especially if you're busy or you have plenty of time in your hands, twiddling your thumbs, watching, watching, you know what I'm trying to say. So even if you have plenty of time and you want peace of mind, you may want to consult an immigration attorney to help you one-on-one. Okay. Because these 290Bs, these fees for that, and the AOS, it's can be a lot of money, right? And you don't want to have to refile. We've known some people do that. So yeah, I want to prevent that from happening for you. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to answer two more. Again, Sung Sakari denial was reasoned due to USCIS error, saying your visa number was not available but was available. So you say USCIS, so that means that'd be chart B. So you want to do a screenshot or print out the entire page, I mean, if that's the case, whichever was the first visa bulletin available. Okay. Yeah, that's where maybe you can submit the whole thing about 290B is you have 30 days. So by the time you could do these other things to try to get it reopened or something that where you don't have to pay the fee, USCIS might not respond to you in time. That's the difficulty. But you could try at least. I can see why people would want to file 290B if they're eligible. It's because it doesn't cost as much. But again, the strategy could be different for depending your situation. Roan, where in America are we? We're in Houston, Texas. We got physical office in Houston, Texas. I used to be in Dallas, Texas. So one of my attorney friends share their office with me, but physically we're in Houston. That's where we're at. Okay. Let's see. A lot of great questions. Thank you so much. I would love to answer them all, but I got a team meeting very, very soon. Sonia Wilson, can breaking on Instagram, can breaking lease affect immigration paperwork? No, not necessarily, because if you move to a new place with your spouse or something, then that's fine to have both names on it. Hopefully that helps. Okay. But good luck on that whole lease breaking. You should maybe talk to a civil lawyer for that in your state. All righty, appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Y'all have a great week. Take care. Y'all know what to do. Follow for more.